The title of this book is Anatomy of the Prosperity Gospel. It is written by our beloved brother Abiodun Jemilohil. We are now in this great part 3 of this book, chapter 7. We are now in the great part 3 of this book, chapter 8. I repeat it. We continue in this great part 3 of this book, chapter 8. We continue. In the premise of the word of our Lord Jesus Christ in Luke chapter 6 verse 38, the prosperity teacher implicitly and sometimes explicitly teach that the seeker must compulsorily give monetary donation to them or their ministry before he can receive financial or material blessing from God. These monetary donations have been packaged into different types such as title, first fruit offering, covenant partner seed, project offering, Shiloh offering, firstborn redemption offering, 24-hour miracle seed, etc. Third, this concept is called different name by different prosperity preachers such as seed, faith, and covenant practices. The practice remain essentially the same. As against the teaching of Christ and his apostle that places a strong emphasis on giving to the poor and the needy, some prosperity teachers go as far as elevating giving to themselves or their ministry above giving to the poor. They teach that giving to the anointed man or an anointed ministry is sowing on fertile ground, while giving to the poor or the needy is sowing on an unfertile ground or sowing to the flesh. Give and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be put into your bosom. For with the same measure that you use, it will be measured back to you. God, Luke chapter 6 verse 38. A cursory look at this Bible verse may give an impression that the prosperity preacher could be correct, that we have to compulsorily give something before we can receive God's blessing, but the principal interpretation says otherwise. So, what exactly was Jesus saying here? Again, we will have to look at the preceding text of this Bible verse before we can appropriately interpret it. But I say to you who hear, love your enemy, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, and pray for those who spitefully use you. To him who strike you on the one cheek, offer the other also. And from him who take away your cloth, do not withhold your tunic either. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from him who take away your good, do not ask them back. And just as you want men to do to you, you also do to them likewise. But if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. And if you lend to those from whom you hope to receive back, what credit is that to you? For even sinners lend to sinners to receive as much back. Lend, hoping for nothing in return, and your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High. For he is kind to the unthankful and evil. Therefore, be merciful, just as your Father also is merciful. Judge not, and you shall not be judged. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be put into your bosom. For with the same measure that you use, it will be measured back to you. In God, Luke chapter 6, verse 27 to 38. Luke chapter 6, verse 20 to 49 is like an abridged version of the Sermon on the Mountain, which is contained in Matthew chapter 5, verse 7. From Luke chapter 6, verse 27, Jesus began to teach the principle of human relation, emphasizing the need to cultivate a charitable disposition to life in general. So verse 38 isn't about monetary donation to an anointed man or ministry, as the prosperity teacher are want to teach. It is about being generous in all ramification, attitude, manner, word, cash, and kind, as highlighted in verse 27 to 38 of Luke chapter 6. It is important to bear in mind that Jesus wasn't teaching a new principle in this Bible passage. He was only reiterating a well-established principle that we do not get ahead in life by focusing all our attention on ourselves or those we like, but by liberally toward all and sundry, including the unlikable and our supposed enemy. To unlikable and our supported enemy. To this, several other Bible passages also agree. There is one who scatters yet increases more, and there is one who withholds more than is right, but it leads to poverty. The generous soul will be made rich, and he who water will also be watered himself. The people will curse him who withhold grain, but blessing will be on the head of him who sells it. He who earnestly seeks good finds favor, but trouble will come to him who seeks evil. God, Proverbs chapter 11, verse 24 to 27. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. For he who sows for his flesh will of the flesh reap corruption, but he who sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap everlasting life. And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. In God, Colossians chapter 6, verse 7 to 9. So we see that Luke chapter 6, verse 38 is not about compulsory monetary donation in order to receive. God, give that you may receive, as taught by prosperity teacher, but about having a general liberal disposition to life, which in general parlance is called having a large heart. It is about the universal principle of cause and effect, also known as the law of sowing and reaping. End of chapter 9 of this book. End of chapter 8 of this book. I repeat it. We are now in the end of chapter 8 of the part 3 of this book. We enter now in chapter 9. The title of chapter 9, Seed Faith. The title of chapter 9, Seed Faith. Oral Roberts, being the father of the abundant life theology, developed the concept of the seed faith, which serves as the foundation for the giving to receive doctrine. As we earlier state, Oral published a book on this concept in 1970 entitled The Miracle of Seed Faith. A revised version of the book was published in 1999. In this book, Oral taught that things received by faith start with a seed. He coined the term seed faith from the word of Jesus in Matthew chapter 17, verse 20. For assuredly I say to you, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. He interpreted the phrase, have faith as the mustard seed, in this Bible verse to mean that a seed has to be compulsorily planted in order for a seeker to release his faith to produce result. This seed, according to him, includes any form of giving, be it in kind or in cash, but his main emphasis was on monetary donation to a Christian ministry. In addition, he used several other scriptural passages that have the word seed or sowing to support this idea, even when they have nothing to do with financial donation. We shall deal with the sowing and reaping concept later. Also, Oral called the seed a point of contact. He thought that people need this point of contact as the evidence to which they can hold on to in the process of releasing their faith to produce tangible result. In other words, he thought that the evidence in Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1 is the seed sown by the seeker. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. In God, Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1. Oral implicitly and sometimes explicitly taught that without this seed, it is almost impossible to get things from God. In addition, he taught that the seeker need to release his faith by attaching specific things he desires to get from God in return for the seed he is sowing. Having done this, he has to open his mouth and speak about his desire to God.